Okay, guys, the news is out. So the Fife Property Prices have come out from the index in Scotland. The UK housing index has actually come out, and Fife house prices have gone up by 14.8% over the last year. That's till the end of October. So what does this all mean? I mean, it's down from last month. It was 15.6 the month before, as opposed to the Scottish average, which is sitting at 11.3%. The average house price for us now stands in Fife at £164,623. Last month it was 161,922. Effectively, that 164,623 over the last year is increased then by £21,255. Property investment seems a good deal that way. 14.8% up, and we'll talk about that towards the end. But the key here is, remember, it represents a 21,255 increase, but the key here is Fife still remains a more affordable area than any other county in Scotland. I'll show you the wee map here that they show you here. So this is it here. So you can see Fife just in that bottom bit here, which means we're in the kind of the average range. I wouldn't say Fife's average, because Fife's God's country as far as I'm concerned. But the midpoint here is between 150 to 169 in that scenario. And there we are here. You can see Edinburgh over there is red hot, and surrounding areas outside there. So we're actually quite good in terms of that market. So we're still affordable for the area. The biggest hitters in the mix of housing, detached properties, are key here. They're the biggest risers. They came in at rising by 15.9% to the year of October 2021 to a whopping £325,000. Now that's across Scotland. Remember, that's not a Fife statistic. We couldn't get any information on that when it was breaking down to that level. The lowest annual change for all property types was flats and maisonettes, which isn't surprising. That was up 8.1% in the year to October 2021 at 126,000 right across Scotland. Now, the key here is the reason that flats and apartments and maisonettes are the most affordable just now is because they're not rising as quick, because it's still affordable in our area for possibly first-time buyers or people moving up the property ladder to actually buy a house, a semi-detached, a terraced, or a detached. When you look at it as well, if you go down to the Leavenmouth area, you're getting a house, a 3-bedroom semi-detached house still for around about the 110,000 mark. In Cooper, you're getting a 3-bedroom semi-detached for round about the 160 to 200,000 mark. So they're still affordable in terms of the level when we talk about average prices right throughout Fife at 164,000. So we'll have to remember and take that into context about where we are. Let me show you the wee graph here of the affordability of the types of house types in Scotland. So this is across Scotland year on year. You can see that detached houses have moved up by 15.9%, semi-detached by 12.1%, terraced by 10.6%, flats and maisonettes by 8.1%. Overall, that's 11.3% right across Scotland itself. Okay, so what does all this mean? In 2016, let me tell you, 2016, a Fife home cost £126,425. Now, that was 5 years ago. It was £126,425, which means that the latest stats are, over the last 5 years, Fife property prices have gone up 30.2% in terms of the amount of money. There's a graph to show you. So since October 2017, you can see the 4%. It goes up to the round about the 8% and 18, and then going all the way through and coming down in terms of the rises. Lockdown kicks in. We can see that happening, and then boom, everybody goes ballistic. Now, it is starting to drop in terms of the correction here, but it won't drop significantly. I've talked about the 5 different reasons why property prices won't drop next year. And you can go into that more detail. You can look on our website, click on the post, and you'll find out more information about why that is due to shortage of supply, interest rates still being at a record low. Most people are on fixed rate mortgages, inflation, migration, And above all else, you've got investors now coming into the market, seeing it as a very lucrative proposition to get the right return on your capital and your savings as well, because you're getting nothing in the bank. If you think about it, you're making 15% in terms of that. If inflation's sitting at 5% just now, you're making a 10% differential in real terms on your savings and investments. That's why people find property investment a really good market to be in. So that's the graph for there. So the number of houses sold. Let's talk about the number of houses sold. Number of houses sold to August 2021 are 8,111. Now, this is the sort of level. This is the sort of level that's not been seen since the pre-credit crunch in 2008, which stood at 8,353. And I'll show you there. So I actually charted that since 2005. It was at 9,000. You could see there. So 9,000, about 10,000, 10,500, 11,000, dropped to 8,300, and then the credit crunch hit, and it just dropped like a stone, halved overnight, basically, almost went to a third of what it was at the 2007 levels in terms of the number of transactions. Remember, it's not the number of properties being sold, not the price of the properties being sold, but it's the number of transactions being sold. And then people started to go, okay, I'll stay in my house a wee bit longer, because at this point in time, people were traditionally changing their houses every 6 years. Then it dropped to this point where people are traditionally changing their houses every 15 to 18 years, because that's the natural cycle now, because people are being a bit more wary, staying in their place, and they're climbing up to the 7,000 level. It's still never got back to this level of 11,000 at the pre-credit crunch levels. And then lockdown came in, it dropped to 5,300 as lockdown came out. It picked it up towards the end of the year and then spiked right back up in the last year to 8,000. Now, if you look at that, you think to yourself, wait a minute, this is getting out of hand. But look at this and average this out. So the 8 plus the 5 is about 13. Divide it by that is about 6.5. Now, you're sitting at the year before at 6,900. 6,800. So it's possible that it's maybe that's just the repercussions and the demand of the people coming out of lockdown and actually evening that out over a period of time based on what they're looking for. So that's yet to be seen. We'll find out, obviously it'll be next year before we realise that happens. But if you watch my weekly updates, I talk about that, and then also get to the end of the month and I talk about the monthly number of transactions actually sold and number of transactions actually come onto market as well in terms of the properties itself. So it's a huge jump in the Fife property prices over the last year. While specific areas like St Andrews and East Neuk are clearly going to be more than that level in terms of that price rise. Because remember, this is an average. So you'll probably get Dunfermline, Kirkcaldy, Glenrothes areas. They tend to be the other side of that. East Neuk, St Andrews, the east of Fife tends to be the other side on the upside of that. So that's where you get the average of 14.8%. But remember, Fife still remains an affordable place, a very affordable place in comparison to the rest of Scotland. As for 2022, due to supply issues, I still think prices will continue to rise again. What's your thoughts? However, as I said, with inflation announced today at 5.1% today, it still means property investment in real terms is one of the best performing asset classes in the UK. You're almost 10% better off in real terms than you were a year ago. If you need more information or you need to contact me or need to say anything, or please feel free to comment on this post. You can message me direct. I've actually got a link in this email, which actually takes me to my email address as well. If you want to send me an email, you can actually message me direct as well, as I said on this post. And until next time, guys, I'm Jim Parker for Fife Properties TV.